Captain by a hook with a red beard. Captain by a hook with a red beard.
Yiggity, yes, sir. Cut from a different coat. My texture has the best fur. Definitely getting copyrighted for that. That man, Jay-Z, don't play. Welcome, Captain by a hook with the red beard, Rowan Donaghy, aka Rowan Dives, going live on this rainy. I was trying to think of the word. Dusk is the wrong word, but that's what I was thinking of. It's overcast, foggy. It's Monday morning, people. We have the Super Bowl matchup set in stone. The Eagles of Philadelphia, I believe they are a 2-point favorite over the Chiefs of Kansas City. The Chiefs Bengals game was a pretty good game. Cincinnati, I know I don't even need to say this. Any football mind with eyes can see. Y'all are literally an average offensive line away from 2 or 3 Super Bowl rings. What the bleep are y'all doing, man? Get an offensive line. That's the only rant I have on that. I don't even want to have to go in detail. Get a hot ham offensive line for the man Joey B, and let that man get your city some rings, bruh. Looking back on the 2020s, for the rest of time, the Bengals could be the team, bruh. Win 3-4 Super Bowl rings. Y'all don't want it, man. Y'all just want to be better than y'all was. That's what it looks like to me. Eagles, Niners. Should have called that game after the first quarter. Wasn't even worth watching after the first 2 or 3 drives. However, they played the whole game for some weird reason. Don't know why. Only thing that could have happened is somebody from the Eagles got hurt and messed up the Super Bowl. Niners had 0 chance, and I mean 0 chance. Can't talk down on nobody. Your boy couldn't throw the ball, so hand off. Sounds like a Future song. Anyway, today on this amazing Monday, I'm all over the place right now. I will jump into some Super Bowl talk on Wednesday. Also, we'll touch on it in more detail on a Friday with my guest, Jaden Chandler Parnell. Let's get into some college hoops. Later in the show, I will go over Major League Baseball's win totals. They have been posted late last week. I looked at them a little bit on Friday, a little more on Sunday, and a little more this morning. I will touch on every team's over and under for about 20 seconds each. Still about a month and a half, 2 months until first pitch and opening day. So I would definitely start diving more into baseball. However, the numbers are up. Let's have some fun and go over them together. Just touch on them. There's a few I like, a few I love, a few I hate, and the majority of them, I have no idea. I'll just say it like that. What I have done, and I know it doesn't look like much, on this little piece of paper. You see the ones, the twos, the threes, the fours, the fives. That's every Tuesday and Thursday. That's every team right now that's on the bracket for March Madness. I got 4 teams right here. I'm going to try and do it by conferences. However, starting with the smaller, lower conferences, there's only going to be 1 to 2, maybe 3 teams in the tournament from those conferences. So I'm going to put those together in the beginning every Tuesday and Thursday. So the next 5 weeks, Tuesday and Thursday, I will be breaking down each one of these teams in depth. Like I said, I'm going over the smallest to the biggest. Tomorrow I have the American Conference and the WCC, which is St. Mary's, Gonzaga, Houston, and Memphis. Those are going to be the 4 teams I break down. I do have a list of like 12 teams down here. Anytime I have some space, I will probably grab from that list. Those are the small schools like Liberty, Southern Illinois, Kent State, Vermont. Teams like that, UNC, Greensboro, Colgate. I will touch on all of those teams. Those will be more random. I'll kind of just grab them when I feel like I have extra space for them. So tomorrow will be the first March Madness breakdown as far as teams go. I'm going to try and spend about 7 minutes on each team. Like I said before, I'll say it one more time. I'll probably say it 10 more times. I will touch on what they like to do offensively, what kind of tempo they like to run, what kind of defense can give them trouble, also what kind of defense can they impose on others. Rebounding, free throw percentage, things like that. Who likes to get shots or where their spots are, what sets these teams like to run. So I will touch on each team for about 7 minutes every Tuesday and Thursday. Once the Super Bowl is over, I will also have a different March Madness segment for Friday. I'm going to keep this to Tuesdays and Thursdays because it fits perfectly with the calendar year schedule from now through March 2nd, which is approximately right before conference tournaments start. So by the time conference tournament starts, from Captain by a Hook, the Red Beard, yours truly, you will have a breakdown of every team that supposedly will be in the tournament. Of course, there will be upsets in conference tournaments. Some team we never heard of will get hot, make a run, win their conference tournament, make it to the tournament. And that will be some last minute breakdowns that I will be doing leading up to the tournament and tournament week. And I got something big planned for Selection Sunday right here on Captain by a Hook. Looking forward to that. That's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I have more content than you could ever want around March Madness. I'm breaking down this weekend. However, let me get my handy dandy notes ready. You're listening to Captain by a Hook with the Red Beard, Rowan Donaghy, aka Rowan Dives. I was wondering why my desk looked a little different. My 3 notebooks was in different places. But yeah, we're going to talk about them and then we're going to scratch them off. Like I said, tomorrow's American and WCC. Thursday, it'll be the Mount West and the Ivy League. So that'll be some fun. Here and there, I will touch on a team that I think can make a run to make it, even though they're not in it right now. And of course, there's going to be some teams that fall off. For example, Arizona State, holding on by a thread, by a finger and nail. Arizona State, man, was 6-1 2 Thursdays ago. Took a loss to UCLA. If they would have won that game at UCLA, they would have been tied for first in the Pac-12. Since losing that game, they went on a 4-game losing streak, bringing them to 5th or 6th in the conference. Other teams in the Pac-12, like Oregon, Utah, and USC, are starting to put things together. Oregon, historically, and by historically, last 3 or 4 seasons, this is what they do. Start off rocky, get in a rhythm, and roll through February and show up in March to be a big-time team. Arizona, UCLA, of course, still holding the pack. Both of those teams, I believe, are like 2 seeds right now in the tournament. Kansas, finally back to their winning ways, beating Kentucky in convincing fashion in Kentucky in the SEC Big 12, whatever you call that, challenge. Tennessee, number one seed in the tournament, and they deserve every bit of it. Tennessee is looking like one of the best teams in the country, not only in the Southeastern Conference. Tennessee in the SEC has stepped their game up tremendously this season. I think the SEC is deeper than it usually is. I think there's more teams in the SEC that can actually do damage than in prior years. You have Indiana demanding, and I mean demanding respect in the Big Ten, demanding respect from the whole country. Indiana, honestly, man, I could still see this team losing in the first round or the second round, but I could also see this team ending up in the Final Four, final game. It's all going to be on Tracy Ellis, Jackson, Davis, Ross shoulders. If he can keep this level of play going, the sky is the limit for Indiana. I'm still on the fence about it. I'll say that. I still doubt him a little bit, but with every game, it's like, how can I even say I doubt him anymore? The man is acting a darn donkey out there on the court. I just broke down the Pac-12 shakeup. Purdue, the real deal. Like Bernie Mac and Sam Jack. If you never seen Soul Man, great movie. Purdue is the real deal, man. They, behind Zach Edey, honestly though, they did some disrespectful stuff against that Michigan State team on Sunday. I don't know what they were trying to do with Zach Edey, but all they did was put a target on his back. He came out the game with about 2-3 minutes left. This is a 20-point game. Whole crowd goes crazy. All the people are looking like they're about to cry because they love him so much. But just some fat dudes doing this in the crowd on camera. He's about to sit for the rest of the game. For some reason, they decided to bring Zach Edey back onto the floor. I guess I don't even know what they were trying to do. Trying to get him to 40 and 15. I think he had 36 and 12 at the moment. It was disrespectful, is what it was from a basketball standpoint. I'm surprised that Tom Izzo didn't show more disgust with the decision by Purdue and their coaching staff to bring this man back into a game up 20 with 2 minutes left just to pad some stats. Whatever they were trying to do, it didn't work though, because with about a minute left, somebody came to get him out, and he came in like, you couldn't do it, dog. And it was just, I don't know, disrespectful to me. If I was on the court, I'm an old school hooper. These kids just let somebody dunk on them and be happy about it. Michigan, I'm supposed to go on a tirade of how horrible the Michigan Wolverines are this season. However, all I'm going to say is this. Juwan Howard, they need a worst coach of the year award just so they can give it to you. 11 and 10 is disgusting. Stop giving your son 37 shots a hot ham game. Stop telling Hunter Dickinson to pass the ball as soon as he touches it. And get this man some sets to get him off the block and get the ball in motion. He can pick and pop too. He can hit the mid-range too. He can go to work down low too. This offense you're running is just, it's horrible. It's not to the strength of your team. And I hate to even say this, but it looks like you're just trying to get your son 25 points a game. That's all it looks like. You don't look like you're playing winning basketball at all. His shots are not in the flow of the offense. It's just a bunch of catching and shooting bad shots from a freshman. But I don't know, man. One of my favorite programs in basketball history, I'm watching it be ruined. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to get too deep and too mean and too ugly. But Michigan, no business to make the tournament, no chance to make the tournament. I hope they don't win another hot ham game, just so the spotlight can really be on Juwan Howard and his horrible coaching of this Michigan team, who is deep with talent. Auburn. Every time I think Auburn's good, they lose. Every time I think they just bad, they start winning. Bruce Pearl, respect him as a coach. Don't really know what's going on. I mean, Auburn players, everybody on that team plays with their heart on their sleeve. It's more grit than talent. Sometimes it don't work. But Auburn, I don't know. I think they'll be dangerous come any tournament time because of the heart that they play with. But definitely talent lacking. Virginia looking very strong in the ACC. Virginia looking very strong, period. Cannot wait to see what this team does this season in March. Creighton turning things around. They were picked as the favorite to win the Big East before the season started. They're starting to look like that team. They put together a couple dominant wins, beating Xavier, capped off by beating Xavier Saturday in blowout fashion. And that's how I'll say that. Creighton, excited to see what they'll do. They're one of the teams that some people have as a, make sure my coffee don't spill, sleeper. Everybody's saying Creighton could go to the Elite Eight, Final Four like that. And I'm going to do some more research on them. I don't know if I'm there yet. Think they could easily be a second round Sweet 16 team. I like them. How can you not? Coach McDermott knows a thing or two because he's seen a thing or two. Or whatever that commercial says. Baylor, I love what they're doing down there in the Big 12, going under the radar. Baylor, one of the best teams in the country, if you ask me. I think that'll show today. Once the new rankings come out, I think they'll jump into the top 12. I feel like they have to, man. Baylor putting together an impressive end of January, going into February with some steam. North Carolina State, Missouri, Duke, Illinois, Houston, Kansas State, all doing their thing. All have been consistent this season. All have been tough teams to play on any given night. And that continued this weekend. All of these teams getting a victory. And the one team I do want to shout out before I jump over to this Major League Baseball talk. Let me look this up real quick. But the Bulldogs of Gonzaga, I have given them a lot of flack for not covering numbers this season. However, they're still one of the most dangerous teams in the country. They're on a 2-game winning streak, which don't mean much. They're 7-1 in the conference, 18-4 overall. Their body of work is just as impressive as it's ever been. However, they're not winning by 30 on the regular. They're winning by 8 to 15. St. Mary's, just got to shout them out on a 10-game winning streak. 8-0 in conference. First place in the West Coast Conference. Gonzaga right behind them at 7-1. That'll be an amazing showdown whenever they play. I feel like it has to be this week. I haven't looked past today. But I feel like a St. Mary's Gonzaga game is on the horizon. One of my favorite games to watch all year. It's usually David versus Goliath. This year it looks more even. So it's even more exciting to watch. I've been a St. Mary's fan since Patty Mills. Yes, Patty Mills was balling over there with St. Mary's. And yeah, that's pretty much a recap of college hoops that went on this weekend. Listening to Captain By a Hook with the red beard, Rowan Donaghy, a.k.a. Rowan Dies. I have 2 picks for you guys later tonight, both of them in the Big 12. I will touch on this ACC matchup that intrigues me. But for now, Major League Baseball totals have been posted. I will go through these as quickly, and I mean swiftly, as possible. Like I said, 2 months still until first pitch on opening day, so I have tons of time to really dive in. In the AL East, the Baltimore Orioles over under is set at 77 and a half. A lot of these numbers are like right where they should be. I don't know if I want to take the over or the under. Orioles is one of those teams. Supposedly they're supposed to have a good season. That hype rarely happens. It just rarely happens. I don't know. I can definitely see this team going under and having another Baltimore Orioles type season. I mean, last season they were supposed to not be good. Last season they traded away their veterans at the trade deadline and they were supposed to just fall apart and tank. And for some reason they started winning. So who knows with this team? They do have some young talent that is taking the league by storm. 77 and a half feels a little high for me though. I'm thinking they'll be around 72, 73 wins. But again, I have nothing that I'm in love with on that one. Another one that I will stay away from as of now, the Boston Red Sox over under at 76 and a hook. I don't think this team has the pitching to win 80 games, but I definitely think they have the bats to be competitive. So with a team like that, you never know. They could ride the bullpen all season and win games 5-4 and just somehow have that luck on their side. You know, out there in Boston, man, they expect to win. So it's not like they're going to show up and just go through the motions. 76 and a half, I don't know. This is another one. I'm leaning towards the under on the New York Yankees. It's 95 and a hook. However, I can see me taking this under and sweating. I mean, profusely sweating out this total with 10 games left. And this team is at, let's say, 92 and 60. Just say that. 10 games left, they 92 and 60. I don't know. I think they get over this over barely. But I want to take the under just to root against them. But 95, it's a tie total. You telling me this Yankees team is going to get to 100 wins? Possible. Very, very possible. They've upgraded their pitching. Have pretty much the same lineup, though, which is kind of scary. A lineup that didn't really produce last season, especially down the stretch outside of Aaron Judge. A lineup that went through a lot of aches and the pains. A lineup that had their fan base ready to kill somebody. 95 and a half seems a little high for me. The Tampa Bay Rays. At first glance, I thought this is going under easily. 88 and a half for the Tampa Bay Rays. And then I looked at their projected lineup. They still got some hitters, man. You got Diaz, Franco, Rosarina, Lowe, Ramirez, Margot, Aranda, Siri, and Bethancourt. And then I was like, okay. And then they still got some pitching. Still got McClanahan, Glasnow, Rasmussen, Elflin, which is a pretty decent pickup as the fourth starter, and Jeffrey Springs looking to take that next step. I don't know. 88 still feels a little high, but I wouldn't count out these Rays. They can definitely be one of the hottest teams in the league next season, easily. Now this my favorite team in this division. Not really my favorite team this season. I'll say my favorite team in this division, the Toronto Blue Jays. I think they have the second, if not the best, lineup in baseball, and I think they have one of the top 5 to 7 rotations. Their total is set at 93 and a hook. I think this goes over. I think they get to 100, 105 wins. I think they have a special regular season. Of course, they're going to need to show something in the playoffs for that fan base to really get rocking. They've made the playoffs the last 3 or 4 seasons and haven't done much with it. Moving over to the AL Central. This number is way too high for me. This team, the White Sox of Chicago, my favorite team, my personal favorite team. I just don't see them having the pitching to go out there and get 87 wins. The total is set at 86 and a hook. Losing Jose Abreu, I think, is going to be a bigger loss than anyone expects, even people that think it's already expected. Not only is he a hitter, not only is he the leader, he's the vocal guy. He cracks jokes and gets people loose. I think he's going to do wonders down there in Houston. Gonna miss him profusely out here in Chicago. Andrew Vaughn, from a productivity standpoint, I don't think the dropout's gonna be that much. I think Andrew Vaughn will step in and get 80 to 90 RBIs. I think he'll hit for around average 270 to 290. And I think he'll hit a couple bombs, man. He might get up to 25 homers. He's been producing at a good rate for a rookie last season. I just don't see him being that guy, that glue guy that Abreu was for the White Sox. And I don't see them having the pitching to go out there and get 87 wins. Give me the under on the White Sox as much as it breaks my heart. The Cleveland Guardians. This number is definitely set a little too high for my liking. Although they do have the pitching and the hitting, even though they just gave up the league's best hitter average-wise in a trade to get better pitching. The Guardians of Cleveland set at 87 and a hook. Just feels like this, and I know that they're doing, I know they're doing a lot more interleague play this season, but it just feels like this Guardians number is set a little too high. I think this division is going to beat up on each other. The Tigers, 71 and a hook. I don't think they get to 65 wins. I think they just bottom out. The Royals, 70 and a hook. I think they do the same thing. I don't see either one of these teams getting over 70. And then the Minnesota Twins had a pretty good season last year. Their total is set at 80 in the hook. I think they can get to 80. I think they're around 500 team, 81 and 81. It'll be close though. Moving over to the AL West, the Houston Astros, who are the best team in the country to me. Their rotation will probably take a month or two to find its footing, but they have one of the best bullpens to back them up if they are struggling. Give me the Astros to easily go over 97 and a half. I think they get to 104, 107 wins. I mean, this lineup is just not going to get shut up. They're going to hit some balls. The Angels of Anaheim, 78 and a hook. That is, man, such a depressing franchise for the Angels. Two of the best players in the world, and I'm looking at 78 and a 5 and a hook. Like, I don't think they'll get there. Oakland Athletics are projected to have 102 losses. Their over-under is set at 59 and a hook. I would still be nervous to take the over, although I've seen wonkier things happen. But I think Oakland is done. I think until this franchise leaves Oakland and the Coliseum, they will be horrible. The Seattle Mariners. I think this total is way too high. I'm on the under for sure on Seattle. 89 in a hook. Give me this team to be around 500, falling back to where they had a great season last year, but I don't think they can duplicate it. And as great of a season as they had last year, let's be honest, their season wasn't all that great. The playoffs got expanded. They got lucky with a wild card slot, but they weren't even in the same race as the Astros for this division. I don't see them being competitive this season either. They'll probably still be a wild card team because now everybody makes the wild card team like they're at an Oprah show. The Texas Rangers, 81 in a hook. This is an overreaction to a Jacob deGrom move, I believe. Definitely do not see this team being 500. See them being under 500 and by a lot. Give me the under on the Rangers and the Mariners in this division. Moving over to the NL East. Pardon me, feels like I should save the NL for Wednesday. You're listening to Captain by a Hook with the red beard, Rowan Donaghy, a.k.a. Rowan Dives. That was my American League over and unders, win totals, touching on them. Yeah, I think I'm going to save this National League. I'm going to put it down right now for Wednesday. Wednesday, I have some golf bets for you, a Super Tuesday recap, MLB NL over unders. Also going to do a little Super Bowl preview, and this show's kind of dead. I got yes it is, my man. Fuck that boy. I got a pretty lax Wednesday show, so I will go over the National League totals on Wednesday. Those are my American League totals. It's about 5 of them I already put in. I don't want the number to jump on me. There is one team I will say in the National League. I think the Diamondbacks total is going to jump. It's at 75.5. I think it'll get to 80 before we know it. If you want to get on it early, I could be wrong. They might be horrible. But the way things are going in Arizona, I think they'll have a chance to dance. You're listening to Captain by a Hook with the red beard, Rowan Donaghy, a.k.a. Rowan Dives. Moving on to tonight, Monday night in college hoops. The Virginia Cavaliers, who I think are the best team in the ACC, taking on my Orangemen of Syracuse. The Syracuse Orangemen at home plus 4.5. Not gonna bet it. We'll watch this game. We'll root for the home team. Hopefully Syracuse can get a couple wins under their belt. I would absolutely love to see this Syracuse team in the tournament. I think this is going to be Boeheim's last season coaching. I want him to go out at least with a tournament loss. I don't want to see him just not make the tournament and play in the NIT or something like that. Which, I mean, the NIT would be fitting. It's the original college basketball championship. If you don't know, and now you know. Moving on to my picks to the night, I have 2 games in the Big 12. Let me pull them up for the opponents. I have Iowa State minus 1.5 on the road. Iowa State on the road taking on Texas Tech. Texas Tech has been struggling the last 2 weeks. I think they continue to struggle. Iowa State coming off of a loss to Mizzou. I think Iowa State gets back on track here and wins this game by 5 or more. It just moved, honestly. I wrote down minus 1.5 an hour ago. You can get them right now at -1. Might even just want to take the money line. Minus 117 on the money line. Pay a little bit of juice just to get the outright win. Those are some of the best bets. Just bet on the team to win. Anything I worry about them covering. Iowa State over Texas Tech tonight. And then give me Baylor. I just told you a minute ago, Baylor is one of my favorite teams right now. They're one of the hottest teams. I think that continues tonight on the road in Texas. Texas is a team that's been struggling. They've been winning, but they've been struggling, if that makes any sense. Give me Baylor plus the 3.5 on the road taking on Texas. I think Baylor is alive to win it outright. However, take the points. The money line isn't really worth it. Plus 140 to me personally. I'd rather take the 3.5. If it moves to 4, I'd rather take the 4. It's going to be a close game regardless. I think you have a higher probability or chance to win the bet taking the points. 2 late games tonight at 8 o'clock Central. Iowa State -1 or the money line over Texas Tech. And then Baylor plus 3.5 taking on Texas. 2 road teams in the Big 12. I think will get it done tonight. Thank y'all for listening to Captain by a Hook with the red beard. It's Rowan Donaghy, a.k.a. Rowan Dives. Tomorrow, it'll be NCAA Super Tuesday. I will give you my college basketball top 10. We will also have the first Madness breakdown. As I said earlier, it will be St. Mary's, Gonzaga, Memphis, and Houston. I will break down those 4 teams in detail. Probably more detail than anybody cares to listen to. But it'll be 1 or 2 people out there that think, wow, this is amazing. Ding. Thank y'all for listening. Captain by a Hook with the red beard. Have a beautiful Monday. Let's start February off on a bang by ending January off with a banger. If you know what I mean, keep it clean and do your thing. Ding! I don't know what I'm doing. I should just stop the show sometimes while I'm ahead, you know? Dives.